So as you guys know, we've been closely following the scandal involving Brett Favre stealing welfare funds for poor people in the state of Mississippi in order to build his daughter a $5 million volleyball stadium. He also received over $1 million in speaking fees for speeches he never gave. He also solicited investment to multiple millions of dollars into a company that he was involved with. A lot going on there. He denies any allegations of wrongdoing.
Yes.
He had no idea where the money was coming from, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so he is not, in my opinion, facing the legal accountability that he should probably be facing, but the media is starting to pick up on this, and he is facing some sort of public backlash and endorsement accountability, I guess, in a sense. Let's go ahead and put this up on the screen. So Brett Favre's Sirius XM show has been put on hold following this welfare fraud scandal, according to Mediaite. Sirius XM confirmed to The Hollywood Reporter on Saturday that Favre's long-running radio show, the Sirius XM Blitz with Brett Favre and Bruce Murray, is going to be put on hold. The show premiered in 2018. It featured him as a co-host. Up until 2 weeks ago, it aired every Tuesday. Also, a local Milwaukee radio station announced it has suspended his weekly Green Bay Packers recap program on the station. And it's taken a little bit. So this scandal involving welfare funds, which isn't just about Brett Favre, it's about this lady and her son and this nonprofit they ran, and it's about the former governor and a potential cover-up from the current governor, and we're talking about literally tens of millions of dollars stolen over years out of this welfare fund. This has been unfolding for years at this point. And it really is just now that the media is sort of catching on to it and the story is gaining any kind of real traction and understanding of just the depths of depravity we're talking about here. So this is the very first little bit of actual backlash that he has faced over his actions with connection to this scandal.
100%. Yeah, and look, I know it's complicated, but at a very basic level, there were public funds for poor people, mostly single moms in Mississippi, one of the poorest states, and he took a lot of money from that fund. Now, he claims he didn't know it was from there. There's a lot of text messages which say that he definitely did know and that he himself put himself in legal jeopardy.
There's a text message where he specifically asked, how do we know that the media can't find out what's going on here?
So he knew there was something untoward. Now, he claims everything's out of context. These text messages are being selectively revealed. He is welcome to set the record straight anytime he wants. Release all of the text messages, release the transcript. The Mississippi governor can also do the same thing. But as it stands right now, it's a disgusting scandal. Again, I'll reiterate, he is worth $110 million. He could have built that stadium 10 times over, could have done some stupid commercial and could have paid for it himself. But he let greed get to him, and he took public money, and now he's at the center of the storm. So this is absolutely the quote-unquote cancel culture that I support.
Yes,
like
yes,
canceling rich people who steal from poor people.
I am 100% in favor of that. The latest development, and it just keeps getting worse. Yesterday we talked about, or whatever, I don't know what day this is airing, but whenever, we talked about the fact that he had suggested using prison slave labor to build the daughter's volleyball stadium, okay? The latest development is that there are texts that were just revealed in a legal filing which show he also tried to get welfare money for an indoor football practice facility as well. So it's just like, the more you learn, the more you're like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I just can't imagine.
Just pay for it yourself.
I just can't imagine.
I don't understand. You know, I think a lot of people I've noticed are transfixed by this, and it's because, you know, he was a pretty beloved figure in his time.
Yeah.
Like, people were like, oh, he's a nice guy. Like, he seems like somebody really grounded. Like, it turns out he's just like all of them. He's just like the rest. Like, absolute greedy scumbag.
I cannot imagine taking money that's intended for, like, poor single moms to, like, you know, make their life work and feed their kids and pay the rent and keep the electric bills on or whatever, and you're a $100 millionaire and you're taking that money for your daughter.
Do you know how much money you even need to make to? Basically in Mississippi, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but TANF in general, you basically have to be below the poverty line.
Well, Mississippi is perhaps the stingiest state in the nation with regards to welfare funds. In that monologue I did, I pulled one of the statistics. I think it's something like, because I looked at it again yesterday, in 1 year there were 12,000 people who applied for the benefit and only like 165 people got it. Okay. There are so many people who don't even bother trying because the process is so dehumanizing and the results so incredibly uncertain that it's basically like cash support for poor people in Mississippi does not really exist.
It's terrible.
Now, this is the legacy of Bill Clinton and the way that they, quote unquote, ended welfare as they know it and changed it from, like guaranteed funds for a certain income threshold to these block grants that states can have a lot of leeway with what they do. Now, what you cannot do is fund a volleyball stadium. Even though they're given a lot of leeway, there are specific provisions actually in the law that says you can't fund quote unquote brick and mortar facilities. So actual construction projects, for example, a football practice facility or a volleyball stadium. So clear violations here. They knew that. One of the son of the nonprofit owner who has already pled and is cooperating now. One of the things he pled guilty to is trying to structure this as a lease to get around that. So they knew what they were doing was an attempt to circumnavigate the law. They knew what the restrictions were, and they did it anyway. So anyway. Very latest, tiny measure of some kind of blowback for Brett Favre, but far less than what he deserves at this point.
Absolutely right.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.